This is definitely not The Office. This is definitely my unfinished basement. Hey Catalysts. So originally this week's video I was going to talk about privileges, and I was going to talk about all the privileges that I have in terms of my life, ranging from where I was born and the color of my skin and the family that I was born into, the fact that I was able to go and get a college degree, the fact that I have all of the scientific discoveries to aid in my thinking and my understanding of the world around me, and the shoulders of those giants to stand on. However, there's a reason actually why I'm filming in my now unfinished basement, so to speak, in a way. It's a little bit hard to tell, but if you could actually see a little bit easier, the carpet is missing, as well as the bottom 4 to 6 inches of my drywall. What I wanted to talk about this week was actually probably the biggest privilege that I have in my life. And that has to do with my basement, because my basement flooded as of this last Saturday. We were down in Deer Creek State Park, which is down in southern Ohio, and at 7:30 on Saturday morning, we received a phone call, and my brother-in-law was on the other line. I didn't recognize his voice at first, and I was like, I was groggy, and I just woken up, and I was trying to figure out, who is this that's talking to me? Hey, is this Mark Vaskin? Yeah. Hey, it's Bob, and then things kind of started to click a little bit. At that point, he says, I have some bad news, and immediately my brain is thinking of all the bad things, and he says, your basement flooded. And to a degree, I had a sigh of relief, because at that point, of all the things that he could have listed off, in terms of a problem with the animals or somebody else in the family having some sort of medical issue or something like that, this was, way better than any of those other things could have been. So we got back here into the Cleveland area about 1 o'clock, and we could see already kind of some of the remnants of the storm that had rolled through. Some of the exits and entrances onto the freeway were still flooded to the point where they were actually cordoned off and people weren't supposed to be using them. We got home and we opened up the door and we had that familiar smell kind of waft over our faces. It was basically damp everything. We were definitely sure at that point that there was water that had been in our basement. And so we went down and we surveyed the damage, and we figured out, okay, we made a plan of attack and figured out, all right, well, we're pretty much going to have to get everything out of here, and it's going to have to be cleaned or thrown away. Lucky for us, my father-in-law, who had actually discovered this at first and had notified my brother-in-law to give us a call, was willing to come over and help us out as far as with the cleanup. In addition to that, my brother-in-law also came up from Columbus, which is a 2.5-hour drive, also to help us out with the cleanup. Unfortunately, his wife's parents, who live not far from here, were also affected, and they actually had a much worse scenario. So our Saturday ended up being us basically taking everything out of the basement, cutting up all of the carpet, cutting the bottom 6 inches of our drywall all the way around the basement out, and getting dehumidifiers going and cleaning and everything like that. A couple of my other friends, Ken and Sam, came over as well, and they were nice enough to pitch in a hand and help out as well. So the next day we had a bunch of wet clothes that had been on the floor waiting to get laundered, and clearly now, since they had been in the water that had come up through the system, at that point in time, yeah, we really needed to launder them. However, as a part of the flood, our washer was broken, and so therefore doing laundry was going to be a little bit tough. But I reached out to my parents, and my parents were more than welcoming and said, yes, please come over and do your laundry and whatever else that you need. While the laundry was going, I told my wife to wake me up when it was time to fold laundry. I just needed to take a nap because I was just beat from the day before. But they let me sleep, and my wife was doing her homework, and then in addition to that, my mom was giving her snacks throughout the day, and then they were nice enough to pick us up dinner because we ended up running a little bit longer than we expected in terms of how long it was going to take. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, was being privileged, is the fact that I'm privileged to have the people around me that I do. I'm privileged to be able to have my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my friends Ken and Sam, and the rest of my family who, we're all offering, is there anything we can do to help out? Is there anything we can get you? Do you need more dehumidifiers? Do you need more hands? In addition to that, my other friends who are offering help, saying, hey, if there's anything you need, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to come over and help out and clean up in any way, shape, or form, or if you need to redo the basement later, if you need help with drywall or anything like that. I'm so privileged to have people who are willing to help out, who are willing to come and lend that hand. I would certainly be happy to do that for them if the tables were turned at any point in time, and it would be my privilege to do that for them because they have come and they have helped us. And so yes, I'm privileged in tons of different ways, and I'm extremely thankful for all of those things and would love to see that be more balanced. But what I probably cherish the most in terms of how I'm privileged is the people that I have in my life, the friends and family and those people in my life. And I mean, they really are what's important. I mean, this stuff is whatever, it's stuff. And so I'm very appreciative of that, and I just wanted to say thank you for all of the things that I am privileged for, most specifically my friends and family. So thank you.